In the warehouse's living room. Who knew such a small cord could cause a wave of fear so intense that it could infect the whole room? But that's exactly what's happening now, as all of us, including my mother, converge around the coffee table where I placed the black piece of paper. Is that really what I think it is? Farah finally breaks the silence. I glance up from my place perched on the edge of the sofa cushion, my thumbs pressed against my mouth. So it would appear. Nat reaches forwards, grabbing up the card. The bidder's nest would be honored by your presence at the auction event of the summer. Never before has such a variety of lots been available to you, our selected clientele. We will expect your attendance on the evening stated. Appropriate attire to be worn. She turns the card over in her hands, bending the invitation slightly, before giving an impressed nod. It's good quality. Ava groans, pinching at the bridge of her nose. We're not here to judge their choice of stationery. The invitation is laid on the table between us all once more. What's in the box? Morgan inquires with a frown in its direction. I glance at the wrapped gift beside me. The provided appropriate attire. How did someone get close enough to deliver this? Ava demands, beginning to stride back and forth in front of the fireplace. You've let our guard down. We've been patrolling non-stop for a long time, Ava, Nat replies in a soft tone. We're not at our best. The team leader clenches her fists. That's no excuse. Morgan flicks her fingers towards the offending invitation. An auction company, really? Is it that much of a surprise? Nat replies. Trappers often sell their prizes. It was only a matter of time before one of them found a way to profit off of it even more. But if these guys are the ones kidnapping people, then does that mean they'll all still be alive? Hope bubbles up in Farah's voice. They can't sell them if they're dead, right? They don't want them, Morgan answers. Only their powers. They don't need to be alive for that. Farah's breathing shortens as she frowns. The auction hasn't started yet, though, so it's still possible they're alive. I'm almost not sure I want to allow myself to believe it. I mean, they might already have been sold. I don't believe it, but it's a possibility. If it was real life, it is a possibility. Because it is a game, I don't believe it. Um, you know what? We'll go with that. Letting hope in now, when we still don't know much of anything, is too much of a risk. I've been beaten enough lately without letting myself be vulnerable here too. Maybe we shouldn't think too much about that, I suggest with a slight wince. We have no idea what they're doing with them. Trappers take to sell or trade. It's what they do, Morgan comments. The hope seems to live on a little in Farah at Morgan's words. But we know nothing of the people who took them, Ava counters. Their plans for these people are still not certain. Rebecca leans forwards, running her fingers over the embossed gold font, her expression pinching for a moment. I recognize the name of this company. My hands drop between my knees. You do? She nods. As well as the trapper who runs it, Cesare. She's ruthless and incredibly dangerous. She believes that with enough money or power she can persuade anyone to her purposes. And can she? Fra asks with her brows raised. Rebecca's shoulders lift with a heavy sigh. As far as our dealings with her go, yes, she can. I stare at the rug as an idea begins to form. Then why don't we use that to our advantage? All eyes turn to me, so I stand, pushing my hands out in emphasis of my points. We'll make her think that I'm interested in joining them. She obviously already half believes that she can turn me to her side. And what if turning you to her side isn't what she has planned in inviting you to this event? Ava asks. The other reason why this auctioneer would want me to attend is an obvious one, but thankfully no one says it aloud. Doesn't matter, I reply. Whatever the reason, she wants me there. My hands fall back to my sides as I straighten myself. I'm the perfect distraction. Nat's expression sours. Distraction for what? I glance around the group. To be the bait for her at this event. Keep her focused on me while gathering some information. Then you guys can burst in later once I've figured out the layout and where they're holding those they've kidnapped. Shit, Morgan breathes out, shrugging as she rocks back. Alright. I turn on the spot, meeting each of their gazes as I go, trying to determine their thoughts on the plan by the frowns on their faces. You know this idea is the best one, I state. It'll work. I know it'll work because you came up with it, Farah says with a smile, but the expression doesn't reach her eyes, and the way she gazes at me is tense with worry. But are you sure? I attempt a chuckle against her obvious concern. Didn't I just say it will work? No, not about that, she explains, getting up from her seat to walk to me. Her fingers slide onto the back of my neck to bring our foreheads together. I mean about you going into an obvious trap. I let my eyes flutter closed for a moment to enjoy her touch. If acting like bait means we can free those people, then I don't think I have much choice. She draws away, staring into my eyes, resting her hand on my cheek. You always have a choice, babe. Then I'm making the choice to go, to try my best to rescue those people, I state with a nod. Just moments before I'd wondered if it was such a good idea, but with Farah so close, I suddenly feel as though I could accomplish anything. She smiles at me. And I'm going to be right there with you. She frowns before chuckling. Or at least saving people behind the scenes while you distract the others. Actually, I don't think that will be possible, Rebecca interjects. We both look to her, and I notice the slight smile that haunts her lips as she glances between Farah and me. It's gone a moment later. Why not? I ask. Your part in this plan will not be an issue, she says to me before looking over to the vampires. It will be all of you that are the problem. Well, that's rude, Farah quips through a sharp breath. And here I thought we were the ones the agency sends in to save the day. Rebecca sighs. Your skills are not in question, but you're vampires. The trappers will have their puppet supernaturals who are able to sense you from a mile away. She gestures between herself and me. Another human won't attract notice. Realization sinks through me as I realize just what she's suggesting. She wants to partner up. Well, it's the best idea. Well, I didn't. It might not be the best idea. It's the best idea we've currently got. Sure. The niggling worries that had been knotting between my shoulder blades lift at the thought of her joining me. I smile at her expectant gaze. I'll feel a ton better knowing you're watching my back. Her expression warms, her body seeming to lighten at my reply. I won't let anything happen to you. I believe you, I reply, truly meaning it. What would your plan be? Ava asks. She seems to have been more engaged with her own thoughts than with our conversation. Jules would still act as the distraction, Rebecca explains with a nod in my direction. While I would find a way into whatever holding area they have and free any prisoner I can find. You can join us to make arrests once those people are safe and secured. Nat tilts her head in my direction with a heavy breath, shrugging one shoulder and gesturing to Rebecca. It's as sound a plan as yours, Jules, but in the end it's your choice. You're the one who's taking the most risk here. Worry stains in the air as they all wait for me to reply. We're going with her. Then I suppose it has been decided, Ava says, not sounding as certain as I'd hoped she would. She stoops to retrieve the black box, its gold bow shimmering in the dimming sunlight. It's time for you to don your armor, detective. I stare down at the box as a hollowness in my stomach makes me shudder. A little while later in my room, I stare at myself in a mirror, sweeping my hands down the sleek lines of the outfit that had been packaged in bundles of delicate tissue paper within the box. It's not exactly my usual style, which already makes me feel out of place wearing it, and the thought that whoever this auctioneer is chose this for me specifically makes it feel even more like a leash in the present. There's definitely something wrong with that sentence. At least it's nothing too audacious. It's simple, classic, and the deepest black I've ever seen, with hints of glittering gold embellishments at the sleeves and hems. It's more than a little concerning how perfectly well fitted the suit is for my form. The suit fits my body almost to perfection, a fact that has me all kinds of concerned. Either this auctioneer makes really good guesses or they found my size by other means. I try very hard not to linger on that thought, but it doesn't matter. As confident as I try to be As confident as I try to be, doubt and fear shadow my mind over what's to come. As if I wasn't already at enough of a disadvantage, not really knowing what's to come, I'll be in her territory too. A knock at my door pulls me away from the growing unease. Come in, I call. The door opens and I see Farah enter behind me as I continue to stare into the mirror. My gaze catches her through the silvery reflection. As much fear fills her eyes as must be showing through mine. Her focus shifts to the suit, specifically the shirt, which remains only partly done up around my torso. May I? I attempt to smile and nod. Sure. She closes the door with a gentle click before heading towards me. My breath catches in my throat the moment her fingertips skim across the sensitive skin of my stomach. Her attention remains on the buttons as she slowly begins to do each of them up, allowing her fingers to trail between my ribs and send a shiver through me. She remains unusually silent, her eyes finally lifting from her task to meet mine. Uh, you're scared. The sudden weight of the air means I'm unable to get my voice above a murmur. A crinkle nestles itself between her brows. Of course I am. But you're not the one going. Which is why I'm terrified. Her hands grasp at my shirt. Do you really not get what losing you would do to me, detective? I struggle to breathe at those words, at the intensity in her gaze, at the sheer amount of obvious care she's so willing to show. Her fingers move to tuck the collar away from me, pulling it aside to plant a heated kiss against my neck. My eyes fall closed at the intimate contact, and I lean into it as she seems to make every worry I had fade into nothingness. She moves in closer to me, our heat mingling, her arms wrapping tighter around me as her lips find purchase once more against the arch of my throat. I angle my head back in eagerness. It would be so easy to give in to this, to let ourselves go. I can feel how much she wants it as her fingers eagerly grip the rich material of my shirt. Fade to black intimate scene. Okay. You know what? I might do this as like a bonus episode. You don't have to watch it, but it'll be there. It'll be there. I'm kind of curious. Sure. All right. Oh, that was fun, she comments with a beaming grin. I can't help but laugh. Happiness buzzes inside me, not just from the pleasure still shivering through me, but just because of her. The world outside, all the problems and missions and trappers and rogues, they mean nothing. Being here with her is all I'll ever want. A loud beeping suddenly starts up from the floor, and Farah rolls off of me so we can both glare at the intruding noise. Shit, she hisses, springing off the bed and throwing our discarded clothes about until she finds what she's looking for. She holds the phone up with a grimace. It's Nat. She says you were supposed to have left 15 minutes ago. I flop back onto the bed, covering my eyes as though the darkness might be enough to help me forget about what I have to do. The mattress sinks beside me, so I pull my arm away to find Farah wrapped in a sheet, staring down at me. She kisses the end of my nose. We better get going. We could just stay here, I groan, but I'm already hauling myself up and off the bed, wondering if the fancy outfit will have creased too much. We could lock the door, she suggests before shaking her head with a wrinkled nose. No, Ava would be through it in a second. I let out a long breath as I draw the shirt over my arms and quickly button it, glancing over my shoulder to Farah. A rush of confidence fills me as I look to her, and the fears of the mission ahead soon wash away to nothing. I smile. I'll see you later. Her hands hang at her sides at the mention of the mission. A tight knot of concern makes her frown, so I walk over to smooth it out with my thumb. I'll be all right, I promise, kissing her lightly on the lips before making to head out. Her fingers reach out for mine, making me pause. Come back, she pleads. My breath catches. I will. Our hands part as I head for the door. I'm not sure of what's to come, but I'm so desperate to see Farah again that I know I'll get through it. Next chapter.